In a world flooded with information, how do you separate fact from fiction? What if the secret to clear thinking and uncovering truth was hidden in ancient wisdom, waiting to be rediscovered? Join us as we unveil a 2,000-year-old guide to logic and reasoning that's more relevant today than ever. The Nyaya School of Indian Philosophy. Welcome back to Philosophy Simplified, where we break down complex philosophical ideas into easy-to-understand concepts. Today, we're diving into one of the most important schools of Indian philosophy, Nyaya, also known as the School of Logic. Nyaya is all about reasoning, debate, and finding the truth through clear thinking. Sounds interesting, right? Let's explore. Founded by sage Gautama, also known as Akshapada, the Nyaya school focuses on how we come to know what we know. In simple terms, it's all about understanding the rules of logic and using them to separate truth from falsehood. Imagine you're a judge in a courtroom. You have to decide what's true and what's false based on the evidence presented. The Nyaya school operates similarly. It seeks to find the truth by analyzing arguments, evidence, and reasoning. The primary purpose of Nyaya is to remove ignorance and misconceptions through proper reasoning and logical analysis. This, in turn, leads to liberation, or moksha. Nyaya teaches that ignorance is the root cause of human suffering. To achieve liberation, one must remove ignorance by gaining true knowledge. And how do we do that? By understanding how to think logically and critically. So, how do we acquire this true knowledge? The Nyaya school identifies 4 sources of valid knowledge, known as pramanas. Think of them as 4 different ways we can come to know something is true. Let's break these down. Perception, pratyaksha. This is the knowledge we gain directly through our senses, what we see, hear, touch, taste, or smell. For example, when you see a tree with your eyes, you know it exists because you've perceived it directly. Inference, anumana. This is the knowledge we gain by reasoning from something we already know. For example, if you see smoke rising from a mountain, you can infer that there is fire, even though you don't directly see the fire. Comparison, upamana. This is the knowledge we gain by comparing something unknown with something known. For instance, if someone tells you that a wild animal called a gavaya looks like a cow, and later you see an animal that looks like a cow in the forest, you can compare it and recognize it as a gavaya. Verbal testimony, shabda. This is the knowledge we gain from reliable sources, like a trusted person or a sacred text. For example, if a knowledgeable teacher tells you about a historical event, you accept it as true based on their authority and expertise. By using these 4 sources of knowledge, Nyaya teaches us how to build a solid foundation for understanding the world around us. It encourages us to be critical thinkers and question what we hear, see, and read. Nyaya also introduces a method for constructing logical arguments known as the Nyaya syllogism. Think of it as a step-by-step approach to reasoning that helps us draw valid conclusions. Here's how it works. Proposition, pratishna. The statement or claim being made. For example, there is fire on the hill. Reason, hetu. The reason for making the claim. For instance, because there is smoke. Example, udaharana. A general rule or example to support the reasoning. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire, like in a kitchen. Application, upanaya. Applying the general rule to the specific case. There is smoke on the hill, so there must be fire. Conclusion, nigamana. The final conclusion based on the reasoning. Therefore, there is fire on the hill. By following these steps, Nyaya helps us form sound arguments and avoid fallacies or faulty reasoning. It's like a toolkit for clear thinking and rational debate. Now you might be wondering, why should we care about an ancient school of logic today? Well, the principles of Nyaya are incredibly relevant in our modern world. Whether we're making decisions, evaluating news, engaging in discussions, or simply trying to understand different viewpoints, Nyaya offers valuable tools for thinking clearly and critically. In a world where misinformation is so common, Nyaya encourages us to seek evidence, ask questions, and think logically. It teaches us not to accept anything at face value, but to dig deeper and find the truth for ourselves. What do you think about the Nyaya school's approach to knowledge and logic? Do you find its principles useful in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our next deep dive into Indian philosophy.